What's up, man? It's day 4 in the series, and we've addressed a lot. We focused on conflicts and the fear of failure and struggles with authority, but here's another silent weight that I would like to discuss while we're in this series together: approval addiction. When your father didn't affirm you or withheld affection, you spent years trying to earn the well done you never got. Although this message is primarily for men, this certainly happens in daughters as well. Bro, we got a lot to cover today. Put your seatbelt on and stick with me. Some of us become high achievers. Others become class clowns, womanizers, or even church overcommitters, not because we love the spotlight, but because we crave the affirmation that was missing at home. Bro, this will preach. I could really pause here and expound upon the idea of seeking attention in negative ways. I know it too well. Some men learn to be manipulative from the missing piece of affirmation as children. Brother, if applause makes you feel alive, silence probably makes you feel abandoned. Let's hurry to dive into point number 1. You crave recognition because you never received affirmation. Whew. When a boy's heart isn't spoken to by his father, he spends his manhood performing. You grind, you hustle, and you overdeliver, not out of passion, but out of panic. And the worst part, even when people clap, it never feels like enough because the one voice you needed never spoke. Bro, I remember playing basketball in high school and yearning for the roar of the crowd. I could have been a great athlete, but I didn't have the work ethic to match. I remember naturally talented athletes like Steve Francis, or hard-working blue-collar athletes like my cousin Jerome Williams. I didn't have natural talent or the work ethic, but I did have a missing hole in my chest that I needed filled by the crowd. The crowd energized me, but it didn't satisfy me. William Shakespeare once said, "When a father gives to his son, both laugh. When a son gives to his father, both cry." That kind of longing doesn't go away. It just shifts targets. Let's jump into point number 2. You become addicted to people's opinions. Seatbelt needed, bro. Your identity starts to depend on external applause. You post for validation. You say yes when you should have said no. You become whoever people need at the cost of who you really are. Oh, Lord. This was absolutely me, bro. It wasn't really the posting part for me. But if you look back through my social media accounts, I posted, but more so for awareness. I really don't pay much mind to social media, but I did put myself in bad situations because I had such a hard time saying no. I was seeking approval and affirmation from others. Be careful, bro. This kind of approval addiction is exhausting because you never get to rest as yourself. But that's not freedom at all. That's bondage to affirmation. Lecrae once said, "When we are addicted to the approval of others, we lose the ability to hear the approval of God." I totally agree with you, bro. This is called hedonism. Let me break this down. I got to. When a man didn't receive affirmation or affection from his father, he often starts to crave pleasurable feelings, acceptance, applause, sexual attention, achievement, because those things temporarily mask the inner ache of feeling unseen or unloved. But here's the trap. Approval addiction is often a form of emotional hedonism, a way of chasing good feelings instead of real healing. Allow me to unpack this. Hedonism says, if I feel good, it must be good. But approval addiction says, if others say I'm good, I can finally feel good. Both are extremely deceptive. A man addicted to affirmation starts to treat applause like a drug. It gives him a high. It actually has scientific connections, but then he crashes. So he does more, seeks for more, works more, sacrifices more just to feel seen again. This is how hedonism becomes a trap for men raised without a father's affirmation. They don't just chase pleasure, they chase the feeling of being enough. Please let this sink in, bro. Let me make my final point. God's approval is the only anchor strong enough for your soul. Galatians chapter 1 verse 10 asks, am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or God? That's not just a question, bro. It's a challenge to choose whose voice shapes your worth. The world applauds temporarily, but the Father affirms eternally. You weren't made to chase applause. You were made to walk in purpose. You're not a product of people's opinions, bro. You are a son of the King. For years, I didn't realize I was chasing approval. I'd overwork, I'd overperform, even overcommit in ministry because rest felt like failure. I tied my value to how much I did for others, not who I was. Oh. It wasn't until I felt burnt out and broken that I realized my Father in heaven was never asking for my performance. He was inviting me to be his son. That truth didn't just shift my schedule, it healed my heart, bro. Oh man, I hope that this is registering with you as it is with me. But whose approval are you living for? You are already seen. You're already chosen. You're already loved. Stop auditioning for affirmation. Let God's voice be the only one loud enough to define you today. The applause of man will fade. The approval of God will never change. You don't need to prove who you are. You don't need to prove who you are, bro. You just need to believe it. Man, I'm praying for you today. This resonates so deeply with me. I struggled with this for years, and there's still residue in my life. Man, when I say I pray for you for this, I'm saying that I'm praying from absolute experience. And I know that in due time and with a whole bunch of healing and revelation in your life, you can come to the understanding that God just wants relationship with you. He doesn't need you to do because he's already done, and he's already gone before you to make relationship between you and him easier. Man, when I say I'm praying for you on this one, I'm praying from absolute experience. Bro, be blessed today. Love you, man.
Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil, you are with me. My mind is much to rely on you, got it, nobody else. Swear the devil when he try to tempt me like